Hi everybody! Welcome back to Be in the Glow. Today I'm going to show you my favorite exercises using the Pilates Magic Circle. So as you see, I'm standing with my legs together, my arms up overhead. I've pulled my belly in and up, and I'm just reaching side to side, actively pressing into the magic circle. And now rounding my spine down, pulling the belly in and up, making my spine the shape of a capital C. Standing back tall, and then I just like to do some spine twists here. So still keeping my hip points forward as I wrap my ribs and torso around with 3 little pulses on each side, seeing if I can go a little bit deeper. Then I'll inhale up, pull the belly back in, and reach side to side once again, making sure you're keeping your ribs closed and reaching the opposite leg down to the floor. I'm going to go back into rounding forward, but this time take an exercise we call washerwoman. So I'm going to press down into the magic circle, not from the strength of my upper body, but more from the strength of my abdominals. So as I press into it, oppositionally, I'm pulling my navel in and up. Then this is a great series right here, the leg series. So at this point, my leg is directly out in front. My standing leg is squeezing on the inside. Finding my balance, I'm pressing from the inner thigh into the magic circle. And you can see my navel and my powerhouse really have to pull in and up. Again, you only want to hug the circle as much as you're pulling your belly in and up, if that makes sense. So think about you squeezing into your gut, trying to fit into your skinny pants. That's exactly what you're trying to do throughout the entire exercise. Now I have a bent leg, just pressing again. And this time we're adding a nice little demi-plie with a press in between. At this angle you can't quite see, but my leg is actually a little bit more off to a diagonal versus straight in front. And we carry through the other side. So standing nice and tall, I have my pelvis tucked under just a little bit to get into those lower belly abs. And again, bending and pressing, breathing of course. And again, at this angle you can see that the leg is off to the side. And then adding those demi-plies with a press of the inner thigh into the magic circle in between each plie. She's tough. She's a tough one. Oh, look at that. A little kick switch. Okay, now I'm going to go and work my arms. And you'll see I'm going to get tired here in just a second. I know at this point I'm starting to sweat. So reaching those arms long and away, the shoulders plug down the spine, and then doing some nice extension, and then resisting the circle back into my chest with squeezing each time in and each time out. Then I take it, yep, see right there, I knew that was going to happen. It's exhausting, it really is. It's a lot of work. You wouldn't think for something so small, but 15 minutes, you're dying. So at this point, I have the magic circle, as you can see, behind me, trying to stay nice and lifted, keeping the chest broad, but not letting the ribs separate with a nice wide collarbone, hugging it in. All right, it gets cut off a little bit at this point, but both feet are planted on the floor, and I have the magic circle in between the inner thigh, and you can see I'm adducting the legs together, hugging in straight up through the pelvic floor to the crown of the head, then shifting my waist over to one side, making sure you're not dumping into the hip, finding that balance as you hug through the powerhouse all the way down to the ankle and hug in. And transition to the other side. You don't want one leg like more in shape and toned than the other, so you have to do both sides. I always like to put my hands back behind the head. It just helps keep me in balance, but also keeps my ribs in line, because if my elbows are out of whack, then I know that means my chest is as well. So now I'm still working on the one legs, but this time the leg is back behind. And you'll see I put my hands on my hips just to engage, make sure both my hip points are still forward, and that I remind myself to pull my belly away from my hands. Not such a graceful transition as it was kicking the circle up and around as I did earlier. So same thing, still being nice and tall, not letting the chest drop. And turning sideways so you can see this angle better. The leg is now extended in front, and same as I did when the leg was behind, just hugging into the magic circle. And again, this is from the bottom of the foot through the crown of the head. So from top to bottom, we're working. This is my weaker side. I was in a car accident recently, and my left hip really got mangled. I was actually in a wheelchair for a little bit and couldn't walk. So you can see my pelvis gets a little lazy and this left leg gets really tired, which is all the more reason why I do these series, because they're just so good. Look, there I go again with my little flip. All right, back to the arm work. Keeping my hips more inner hip distance apart. I took it a little too broad. Do you see little Holly puppy? Isn't she cute? So from that armpit muscle and the chest and the serratus and lats is really where you want to pull into this, not so much into the top of the traps or the top of the shoulder, more across the chest and the armpit. Finding the balance. This is not pretty, I'm not going to lie. This is not a pretty section for me, but it really is good to use the magic circle and hug into it as you try to lift up into that releve position. And then taking that leg behind you, having a really deep plie or deep lunge. As you reach the leg back, hug into the magic circle with the heel of the palm through the powerhouse. And same thing, trying to find that balance. It always helps me to hug the circle deeper as I rise up, and it lets me connect to that balance more. And then same thing, just lunging back. I'm nice and warm, so a deep lunge is good to go here. Holding that position as I pause. And now we're down onto the mat. I always like to finish up with some roll-ups here, nice and classic. And then a great shoulder stretch. When you stretch like this, and I love doing so with the magic circle, you're going to stretch more of your rhomboid muscles. That's the muscles that connects the scapula to the spine. And continuing to stretch with the legs. I have a great video that I can link in the description that shows in more detail how I love using the magic circle to stretch the body. It's a great tool and just a lot different than using a physio band or like a TheraBand or a yoga strap. I find it way more effective for me, and my clients really love it too. And then, of course, I finished stretching on the opposite leg. Thank you guys so much for visiting Be in the Glow. I really do hope you give this quick 15-minute exercise series a try. The reps that I do is about 8 to 16, and again, it's 15 minutes from head to toe workout. A magic circle or the Pilates ring is really inexpensive. You can pick one up on Amazon for about $20. Let us know in the comments below if you give this series a try. And look at me getting up like a ninja. Let's all be in the glow. Bye, guys.